Good morning. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yes, if Jim Carrey can make the line work, so can I. Chad Himes here with the Internet Marketing Specialist designation, bringing you more on social media trends. We will be talking today about Google+, and of course a whole lot more. It's what you've asked for. It's what we are bringing you. I'd like to welcome you to the webinar. For those of you who do not know, during our webinars, for your questions and answers, we're going to direct you towards Facebook. Our fan page is facebook.com/IMSdesignation. Go give a like to our page while you are there. If you haven't heard of the Internet Marketing Specialist designation, or IMSD as we like to call it for short, I want to tell you just a quick bit about it. We break it down into 8 key areas of Internet success. We have a 1-hour webinar on each one of these topics that you see on your screen right now. We take you through these live, again and again, updating the class as things change in the world of the Internet. We also record all the webinars so you can watch them on demand 24 hours a day, just like you will be able to see this webinar again and again to go back and grab some of the information. We have live Q&A during our webinars as well, giving you the opportunity for some coaching opportunity if you need some help with some of the areas of your business. I want you to know that if you would be interested in joining the Internet Marketing Specialist designation, all you need to do is go to imsd.net, and you will save $200 if you use the promotional code Google+. Spell that out, Google+. That'll be good for a week. We want to get you guys out there so that you can use that promotional code. Now, I am joined by a fantastic guest, a friend of the Internet Marketing Specialist designation, and someone that you guys all love out there. Chris, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing really good, Chad. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, and really excited about the topic today.
We are going to have a great time talking about it. Now, there are some great places that you can find Chris. Got them up on the screen for you right now. You can find Chris at next.inman.com. Of course, you can also find them facebook.com/InmanNext, and then on Twitter, it's at InmanNext. Now, that's some places where they can find the whole Inman thing, but if they want to find you specific, you've got this strange little Twitter handle here going on, Chris. We got to get used to this one. How'd you come up with this one?
Yeah, when I was doing some testing, I was going to see what would happen if I chose the worst possible option. So not only did I include the underscore, which I always try to avoid, I actually decided to leave one vowel off of only one of the 2 names. So my follower ratio has gone down, but the good news is this other dude named Chris Smith is like trending on Twitter.
You know, we should have talked about this. You should have taken all the I's out of it and somehow been sponsored by Apple. I don't know. We could have done something in there with your Twitter handle. But here's how you can find Chris and I after this call as well. You know, I've been doing a bunch of webinars, Chris, and I get some feedback from people who tell me that it's time for me to host a game show. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make the first part of this call a little bit of a game show, if you're good with that, and play, insert bad game show music here, this or that. You up for the challenge here to play this, Chris?
This or that, yeah. Is it possible that there may be an this and that? Is it possible?
Well,
yeah.
There might be a possibility for a this and or that in some situation, but I don't want to limit this game to just Chris. I actually want to open this game to everybody. So wake up out there, pay attention, have a look at your screen here, because I'm going to give you only 20 seconds for you to answer this or that, and the question I'm going to ask you first is Empire Avenue or Clout. So let me know. Look on your screen, Empire Avenue or Clout. Don't type it in. Click the option on your screen. We got the poll up there for you. I am going to give you 20 seconds as you select Empire Avenue or Clout. We're going to see what's going on now. Chris, as they are finishing up their scoring, what do you think, this or that?
Well, I think with this one, it's very easy to immediately say, in my opinion, to say Clout. And that would be, of course, assuming, well, there we go. I think that's the results are up, right? So I think it's very easy to lean towards clout. And the main reason I think that is because people view Empire Avenue as a game, and that's because they built it as a game and they're marketing it as a game. So right now, I think that clout is what a lot more people would be looking at. I know that more people are focused on their clout score than their share price. I would say that over the long run, I think that clout, in my opinion, it feels like it's going to stick around. It feels like something that's not going away. I know you guys are bringing them on. But that being said, I want to give a tip on Empire Avenue, because one of the best parts about it is that it's watching what you're doing everywhere else anyway. So if you'll take that time to log in, connect all your social accounts, it's going to see how active you are automatically, so you don't just fall off the map. Because in 2 years, you know how it is, Chad, maybe that's where everybody goes to look for, professional services. We have to be careful. But right now, this or that, I'm going with the audience. I'm saying clout.
All right, so we've got clout is the winner for round one. All right, let's move on. I'm going to show you quickly the options on the screen, and then we will have you vote. The next one, this or that or that. I'm going to give you three. That's Facebook Places, that's Foursquare, and that's Scavenger. Let us know. Give us a little click there. Which one are you using? Facebook Places, Foursquare, or Scavenger? I know I made it hard on you. You can only choose one. So while Chris has the ability to go and, I'm going to force all of you to go or. Yes, winner, winner, chicken dinner, Wes. You're absolutely right. It's interesting watching these numbers come across, and while they're wrapping up their voting, Chris, what's your feeling on Facebook Places, Foursquare, and or Scavenger?
Well, I think what's going to happen with your data, I don't see it yet. I think it's going to be really close between Facebook Places and Foursquare. I think it's going to be kind of neck and neck style. And there it is. Look at that, 53 to 47. And I mean, hey, let's just hope Scavenger's not tuning in. We need to, they didn't get one vote. Now, one of the things about Scavenger that a lot of people don't know is they've actually built tools within their program specifically for real estate agents and brokerages. So don't not pay attention to them. With Facebook Places, it's so much easier because everybody's already on Facebook. But in my opinion, if I'm going to crown the champion of location, don't you want your brand spread across the web, Chad, or do you just want it all in one place?
Oh, I agree with you on where you're going on that, Chris. You want to be everywhere.
I think you want to be everywhere. And Foursquare, all they do is location. There's all kinds of cool things you can do with the tips. I think really the magic happens after the tips. So for me, I'm not saying both. I'm saying Foursquare is the king of location. I think it's the best place to have your brand. I think it's really relevant if you use it the right way. And Facebook Places, that would be a really cool one for grandma to use.
There you go. And as we just said, Cloud has added Foursquare, so if you have not yet synced it up, when we're done with this call, you need to get yourself on your Cloud site and make sure you sync that up for the Foursquare results that are coming. All right, the next one, be interested to see what we get from everybody on this. Living Social and Groupon. So let's see what we've got here from you guys. Love to see your feedback on that. Give me your vote. Let me know if you are using these at all. And Chris, they're already halfway, almost half of them have already voted. They jumped in quickly on this. What are your thoughts, Groupon or Living Social?
Well, I think we're talking to real estate agents, and right now there's a lot of drama. There was some really interesting stuff that if people go to Inman.com, we covered Groupon, a brokerage called Dreamtown, launched the first ever deal. By all accounts, it was a success, but then it brought up all these issues about, are these things even legal? Where I'm at, there's a lot of drama there. So I think for a real estate agent, if Groupon comes around, and if Groupon does come up with a deal that you could be the only person in your market offering that deal, I'm taking it. Really what Groupon's doing, you guys, they're collecting money for you from very serious leads. It's hard enough to get a lead. We all know that. But what if you had a lead that was also on the hook for $50? I mean, that is a big opportunity. Living Social is all about getting out of your house and doing things like going to the movies and going to the restaurants. I might keep an eye on their deals, and then if they send out a really good one, I might want to promote that to my sphere and say, hey, if you guys didn't see this, check it out. I think that brings value as well. But as far as for your business, I think Groupon is going to be the winner, and it looked like the audience agreed.
2/3 of them did go with Groupon on that one. All right, let's get to something that will give you a little bit more here for everybody on the tools that I know they're running around using as we go through this here. We've got Hootsuite versus TweetDeck. Yes, Hootsuite or TweetDeck. Which one of these are you guys using? Jump on in, give us your votes for this. Vanna's got some wonderful gifts hiding behind door number 3 for the winner of the whole game here. And we're getting some quick voting. And, wow, you know, I'll tell you, the Hootsuite people were out to a quick lead, but the vote is changing quickly. We'll see where this ends up.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I think we're going to end up at about 75-25, maybe about 80-20 in favor of Hootsuite.
Let's see. Now, Chris, which one are you using?
I'm an all-in Hootsuite guy. You know, actually, a lot more people using TweetDeck than I thought. So that's actually really interesting data for me. When I see things like that, that helps me come up with content creation ideas for Inman next, which is cool. But for me, Hootsuite is where it's at. A lot of agents need something that's easy to use. A lot of agents are looking for data. They're looking for trackability. They're trying to manage Facebook, Twitter, all these different things. I never really point to one specific reason. You know, I think you have to do Hootsuite because of this. But, you know, at Inman, we're running a media company that's publishing multiple things a day. We have several Facebook pages, several Twitter accounts, and we have gone all in with Hootsuite. The CEO of their company is actually a keynote at Inman Connect in San Fran, and I just love it. The iPad app, the iPhone app, the Android app, I really feel like Hootsuite is where it's at. And if people want to learn more, you know, have them reach out to me on Twitter. But I couldn't run my business without it.
There you go. Heard from one of the men using it at an incredible rate. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. We'll really find out a lot about who's on the call as we come to the last of the this or that. Here we go, everybody. It's the power vote. Droid or iPhone? Let's see who we've got on the call today. Chris, as I'm seeing the numbers come through, you got a guess in advance? I know which one you're using.
No, I have a guess. I mean, I ask big crowds of real estate agents this question once a week. So, I mean, I have a guess, and I think that one of the things that I've seen trending is, you know, I would guess about 60-40. I would say Android, look at this, wow, 50-50. So, I mean, at one point it was 10% of the crowd, Chad, and then it went to 20 and 30, and now it's up to 50 on a call like this with a big sample size. You know, Android is growing big time, and we're going to talk about how that might actually impact Google+, because I think that's a big correlation. Mobile and social go so well together. But the one thing I can say about the iPhone, and I want anybody that wants to argue this point to argue it, when you're building the piece of hardware and the piece of software, they're obviously going to play better together than if you only built one or the other. So Android and Google have built an amazing platform with the Android. They only built the software. So HTC and Motorola and all these other companies that have Android options, they're all having to tweak it. You lose a little bit of consistency and you use a little bit of kind of user experience because of that. Not to say it's not a great option if you're still with a BlackBerry, but that's all I'm going to say about it. I mean, I'm passionate about agents being connected to their consumers when they need them quickly, and I think these are absolutely the best two options. Fun to see them at 50-50.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised to watch how close that vote was the whole time. Now, Chris, I got another one for you, and we're not going to open this one to a poll, but I'd like to ask you this one. Tech savvy or Inman?
How could you do that to me, Chad?
All right, we'll just skip you past that one. Oh, wait, I've got another one, Chris. It's ePro or IMSD? So we might have to get into the ats and the ands at this point, huh? So
the jokes come out at the 20-minute mark. Is that how it works with you guys?
Absolutely. We need to break it up a little humor. But now let's move into the big one, and this is what everybody's here to find out about. And it really comes down to this or that, and that's Facebook or Google+. Or would this be an and?
Well, a lot of people right now are, did you build a poll for this? I mean, it would have been 100%.
I did not build a poll
Okay.
on this one yet because I don't think half the people really know what Google Plus is all about, and that's why they're here with us.
Well, I would have been the only one that would have maybe voted for it. So, this is why they're on the call. And I'm going to explain more in depth why Google Plus is not going to be optional. I truly believe that. I don't think this is an or, but I'm absolutely certain that it's an and. So it's not going to be Google Plus or Facebook, just like, in my opinion, it's not Facebook or Twitter, just like it's not Facebook or a blog, just like it's not, Foursquare or YouTube. This, and I'm going to document exactly why I feel that way, but I really feel like that there's some huge incentives to understanding Google Plus early, to getting your foot in the door, to making sure you understand how the etiquette works. And really one of the big things today, Chad, is let's make sure we don't screw it up again. Because let's face it, most agents got to Facebook and tripped over their feet for 3 years before they started figuring out it wasn't all about them. It was all about the other people. So I think Google Plus is going to be huge. 100% it's going to be an and we'll talk about who's on Google Plus right now, but my mom's not on there. My aunt's not on there. My cousins aren't on there. But I do think people, once they see this presentation that I'm going to do, I really think they're going to be bought in, and they're going to be really happy that IMSD did this.
Perfect. Now, I'm going to remind everybody before we jump right into the presentation on Google+, if you have any questions, we want you to go to IMSD's fan page. That's facebook.com/IMSdesignation. Post your questions there for us. That way Chris and myself and our whole community can be jumping in and answering questions for you even after this call. I've got a quick question right off the top, and I'm sure you're going to address it, though, Chris, and I just want to throw it out there because there's a lot of people who have this question. They're saying, how the heck do I even get on it? Because I can't.
Yeah,
I need an invite.
Yeah, just go to the next slide there, and I'll show kind of, hey, here's what you're going to see when you get there. There's been all kinds of drama around how you get in. I think that probably would have been a good poll question in retrospect is, are you on there or not yet? And I've been asking that on Facebook and Twitter, and a lot of people are there. But you can see this is the home screen as of about midnight last night, and it says just sign in with your Google account to start using it. So there are certain people that when they do that, it says, hey, we're still not allowing it. They kind of open it up, and then they close it. Here's one of the this is such a great best practice. If people are on Twitter and Facebook, I mean, this is a pretty good one to share. We have figured out through a number of people that they really want your profile, which we're going to cover in a second. They really want your Google profile to be very thorough. They don't want to turn on a bunch of accounts for people that would have kind of a shadow man image and no information, kind of like Ben Kinney's profile looks right now, actually, Chad. I don't know if you've taken a look at Ben on Google+, but
I have.
So he's, they don't want 200 million users with no pictures. So the way I look at it is, and this is something that a number of people shared with me, go into your Google profile. You don't need a Google Plus account to have a Google profile. And typically you would get into that through your Gmail account, your YouTube account, etc. Go into your Google profile and fill that thing out as thoroughly as you can. Make sure you have all the stuff you never would have put in there before. And when you do that, it seems like they're a lot quicker to then turn on your Plus account. So hopefully that'll get more people there. If not, you just go to plus.google.com, and you can also ask people to invite you. So they're giving out the invitations pretty freely at this point.
Perfect. I know that I've got a few invites if people need that I can go send some people. So Chris, how early are we?
Well, we're super early. I mean, I think it launched 2 weeks ago almost exactly. So this is a statement that was made, again, last night. I tried to get the most up-to-date data that I could, and this is their founder, Larry Page. Google Plus users are sharing 1 billion items per day. And then the other stats that I thought were important to point out, they're already up to about 10 million users. The +1 button, which we're going to cover, which I think everybody scoffed at when it first came out, because they'd rather just hit like. I promise you guys aren't just going to be hitting it after this call today. You're going to be asking for people to hit it. And then if you look at some of the other things Google doing, you see I put a note there, Chad, that they're much more diverse than Facebook. Take a look at everything else they do. 550,000 phones a day are being turned on. They have 160 million people using Chrome. And if you're not using Google Chrome, I advise you to maybe take a look at it. I think it's become the best browser. And if you have to use, something else for your MLS, well, use your MLS only and use a bunch of other stuff on Chrome. So they're very diverse. They have Google+, they obviously have the Android, they have the Chrome browser. But look at the screenshot out of my iPhone. I'm using an iPhone. I don't even have an Android, which you could imagine will integrate all this beautifully. But I've got my Google+, I got my Gmail, I got my pictures, I got my YouTube, all my feed reader, my calendar, my docs, my chat, my map, my news. Come on. So Facebook doesn't have all that. And a lot of those, features that they have, like, yeah, you can put a video on Facebook, but it's not you'd rather put a YouTube video on Facebook. So let's just understand that Google is poised for success, and the early adopters are saying amazing things about this. So hopefully that's interesting data, and if you're on Twitter, tweet it out and put my symbol in it.
Now, Chris, early adopters, I heard those words in there. I was talking to you about this at the beginning. We're hearing a lot that the early adopters are mostly male. Why?
Well, I mean, there's so many different jokes that I could make right at that moment, because they're the ones that sit at home by themselves and, do all the techie, geeky stuff. I mean, the data that I looked at, to put that in perspective, how do you define an early adopter? And there's actually a chart that this really smart guy made, and it breaks down, early adopters versus the masses versus the late adopters. I want to put one thing in perspective for people. Looking at the size of Facebook today, which is 750 million strong, in that formula, the first 120 million people were early adopters. So when we're talking about a platform with only 10 million users, with the potential growth that it has, these are the super early adopters. And if you look at who has the most people in a circle, Chris Brogan, Robert Scoble, Kevin Rose, guys like Gary Vaynerchuk. So those are all the tech guys. So once again, I just don't think that mom and pop are here yet, but these guys that are here are typically the ones that know where to be before mom and pop do. So that's kind of my state of the union with where we're at today and how early we are.
I was also reading yesterday about Google News is now going to be offering badges as well for people that actually are reading news articles on certain topics, that you're going to become an expert in sports or the market or politics. What are your thoughts on that they'll be sharing that all over Google Plus as well?
Well, there's a lot of implications, and we're going to cover that when we go deeper into the back end of Plus, because when you talk about link love, I mean, there's so many opportunities for links. It's unbelievable. And if you can start getting your content pushed into a site like Google News, one thing to say at Inman runs all kinds of stuff on their site. But if Yahoo picks it up, or if MSN picks it up and puts it up into their site, I mean, you just get this bump in traffic. So that would be a great opportunity. And hopefully you're creating a little bit of feed. If you're not creating content, you don't get put in there, Chad, right?
Absolutely. So, Chris, talk to us about this, because in real estate we always say location, location, location.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was an awful analogy to use, but I think it's pretty much what says it all. Why is this going to work? Why are people going to leave Facebook? Why is this something that would even be worth me spending any time on? Well, the screen that you're looking at, which is google.com, there are about 6 billion searches a week happening. 6 billion. So don't think about the search. Think about the eyes. How many people look at this screen 15, 20, 30, 50 times a day? Every person on this call, I would imagine, is still on this site at least once a day. So the way that they've been able to magically make this appear, so look at the top, Chad, web, images, videos, maps, that was there before, but do you see the new button there for me?
Absolutely. I play with it every day. I click on that new button now.
It's right there. And then how about, what if the Facebook notifications were just pushing right to google.com? Well, they're doing it for themselves. So when you're parked on the most popular screen for search in the world, you're going to get a little bit of you're going to get some users is what I mean. So if that doesn't open a few people's eyes, I don't know what will. And the other cool thing will be, because we go to Google so often and we're just conditioned to go there, it'll probably cause us to manage our social site Google Plus better, because those notifications and that button will be in front of us so often. So I think that's a really important screen for people to understand.
So, Chris, all these people here, they're all getting their invites. They're asking for them. I'm already seeing it go across the Facebook page. For those that don't have it, there's plenty of people in it. What do they do, though, so that you were saying so many people got Facebook wrong? How do we get Google Plus right?
Yeah, that's a big one. And I also just want to take a step back right now and say there is not an expert on this yet, and there shouldn't be. I mean, we're talking about 2 weeks, so I'd be foolish to say, well, let me say one thing. I would almost bet my life that there have been exactly 0 homes sold through Google Plus. So let's get that out there. Because you always get that question, how many homes have you sold through Facebook? Is it worth it? So right now there's 0. So know that going in, okay? But one of the most important things, and it isn't just on social sites, Chad, it's sometimes on real estate agents' own websites. Sometimes when they fill out their profile on Zillow or Realtor.com, they go to like a site like a Yelp and they set up a profile. I think that people screw up their profile a lot. So I wanted to give a couple bits of advice. Make sure that's the first thing that you do. And you can see a little note I put. When Facebook came out and you gave them all your information and you said, I went to school here, here's how old I am, here's why I want to be a part of Facebook, here's where I used to work, here's where I used to live. The more that you give, the easier you're making it for them to connect you with the right people. So that's really, really important. So if you don't put where you went to school and you don't put where you used to live, it's not going to be as easy for them to seek out the people that are going to obviously start dumping into Google+. The other thing that's going to be insanely nice is, see this big white space over here on the side, Chad? See that big white space where there's nothing?
I wonder what's going to end up there, Chris.
Yeah, I wonder what might end up there eventually. So, I mean, I literally could run an ad to somebody that, went to school here, that also lived here, some of that cool stuff you can do in Facebook. So I think that's going to be a big opportunity for marketers. The other thing I wanted to talk about there is the link love. Obviously, like a guy like Ben has, 50 different domain names, maybe 100. There's all kinds of social sites. There's all kinds of bios. There's all kinds of bios on LinkedIn, all this stuff. So I really want people to focus on maximizing the links. You got to get them in there. Put as many as you can. Have it link off to everything that you're doing right now on the web. And then also one really nice thing is within each paragraph. So when you go to the introduction and you want to write your little intro, you can actually put hyperlinks right in the intro. So for me personally, if somebody's checking me out, I'm working a lot on Inman next. That's going to be the first link that I put in there. Also be really careful of the order. A lot of times you'll put a bunch of links in the side there, and the top link will be your Twitter, and then your LinkedIn and your Facebook and your website, which is where you have a better chance of converting and doing real business on. Sometimes that'll be at the bottom. So just be really cautious of this screen. Make sure you fill it out completely, where you lived. And then one thing, Chad, which I hate I have to cover, is put your phone number in there. Put the email that you check in there. I mean, that just happens so often where we're just not making ourselves available. So hopefully that's a good overview. The other last little thing is put some pictures in there. Make sure there's some images. And then also on the left, the circles. I just want to explain that really quickly. If I'm in a circle, so it says in Chris's circles, think of that. That's who I'm following. So I'm following 155 people, and then who has me in a circle? 295. Well, that's how many people are following me. So my goal is always to have a lot more people watching me than I'm watching, but we'll get into circles and all that stuff in a minute. But hopefully your people are loving this, dude. I mean, if you could just have them throw it in the chat or something if they think this is helping them, I'd appreciate it.
What do you guys think? Is this already helping you with getting a handle on Google+? Just chat that up for us. Let us know. Oh, my gosh. Awesome, helpful, yes, big, huge, don't stop, woohoo. Oh, yeah, I think we're going to just take the next half hour just getting these words coming through now. So, Chris, I've stopped listening to you. I'm setting up my profile right now. So
I was going to say, can you read that last one, that woohoo, one more time?
Yeah, it went by already, the woo-hoo. I said, and Virginia just joined your circle last night. Very, very happy. I'm wondering why my picture's not up there, but you and I will talk about that after the call while I'm not one of those people. But so, Chris, now they've got their profile up. They're getting it going. We can see all the wonderful places you lived. And now, of course, you and I have something in common. We both lived in Clearwater, Florida at some point we'll have to talk about that I just learned. But
Yeah.
let's talk about this.
So really, hold on 1 second, though. Your cold call just became a warm call. I mean,
Absolutely.
Is that fair? Yeah, okay.
Absolutely it did, because now I know something even more that you and I can talk about next time we bump into each other. But now, this +1 thing. All right, we all know about the like on Facebook. We all know how important it is, and the more likes we get, EdgeRank loves. What's this +1 thing?
Yeah, I think at least with this, it's kind of like, at least it's a little bit more normal. I mean, I think like with things like Twitter, retweeting and all those hashtags and stuff, it gets to be a little tricky. +1s, I'm guilty. They kind of released it before they released Plus, and so it's like, hey, you can add this to your website. You can get the code and put this on your website, and everybody kind of initially reacted and said, who cares? I'd much rather just put the like button. Nobody's using the +1 button. But let me just stop everybody right now and say that +1s are a huge part of what you're about to learn. It's literally just the button that when you're on a website, so you could be on the home page, you could be on any of the content pages, there's always going to be a little +1 button. And I'm going to show what that looks like in a second. But the concept behind +1 is just like you read something and you liked it. Here's the difference. When you read something and you like it, it goes over into Facebook that you liked it. But when you read something and you +1 it, it can go into Google+, which is the social stream, but it's also going to affect the search engines. And we're going to show a slide on that here in a minute. That's why it's a huge deal. The other thing is we're actually still on the profile page right now. The first tab we started on was the About tab, but there's a +1 tab that you can turn on. It's not defaultly turned on, so when you're editing your profile, turn it on. And now if I'm trying to get to know Chad, and I think this is huge, I think that we can learn as much about people based on the content that they're reading and +1ing as we can about what they're sharing on Facebook and Twitter. Because when you're on the web chat and it's like midnight and you're browsing and you're on Mashable or something and you're on Inman Next and you read this article and you hit +1, you're not necessarily thinking about the fact that that just moved into your tab. So now Lisa Archer or Ben Kinney and all these people, Lori Davis, they're just stalking you. They want to stalk you and see what you've been saying is good content, or obviously they just trust that you pick out good content. Well, now all of a sudden, again, look at all this link love. This is where you're going to want your content to be. You're going to want it to be +1 all over the internet by as many people as possible, for partly because of this reason and then partly because of what we'll look at. But it happens dynamically. It's going to be a hugely popular tab in my opinion, and I think this takes stalking to the next level, which I know we all love.
Hey, nothing wrong with stalking. Nothing wrong at all with stalking. So, all right, let's we get into it now. So you've helped us set it up. We've turned on our +1. We've created our About. We've filled in all those things that it's asking us about. What do we got going on here, Chris?
Well, next is just kind of the home base. So most people would kind of think about this as their news feed in Facebook. So it's very comparable. You log into your home screen. But look at the top, Chad. What do you see right there right away as soon as you see it?
And of course, Twitter and Facebook.
So one of the things where I think Google has a huge opportunity to win, and I think Plus can be huge, they're very much an open API type company. They're very much okay with any and everything working with their products. That's their business model. That's why they're so successful. So the fact that I've already gotten my Google Plus to where I can check my Twitter and my Facebook and, of course, my Plus all on one screen, now we're talking. This thing's 2 weeks old. You don't think that there's some geeks out there that are going to build some amazing applications that are going to make this just a very fluid presence? You're not even going to know what site you're on. You're just going to know that you're social networking. And I think that that's powerful by bringing everything into one place. Just real quickly on the left, you have your stream, and those are kind of like your circles. So if you quickly want to figure out what people are chatting about, but you only want to see what your friends or family or all those are doing, another huge opportunity here, Chad, is going to be Sparks. You talked about it earlier, like with that Google News kind of feed opportunity. What Sparks are kind of like your interest. So I'm interested in real estate technology and I'm interested in the iPad. That's going to basically be another place where your links are going to have an opportunity to live. So if I can convince somebody to set up a Spark for Inman Next, everything we ever publish is going to be right there on their home base. I think that's a huge opportunity. The other couple things on the side, well, right in the middle, I just wanted to give a quick tip. I know your IMSD people really understand the power of tagging. So when you're in Facebook, you would tag someone. Well, they have that same functionality. You +1 something, you put a plus in front of someone's name, and it tags them. And then if you look at the side, obviously they're suggesting people, but the two big things for me, Hangouts, which are the live video chat with a lot of people, we'll cover that. Here's another great thing they did. Get Google Plus for your mobile. Remember, this is your home base that you'll see every day. You click on that, you give them your phone number, and they text message you the app or the link to the web app. So they're getting themselves into people's devices at a really high rate. So that's just the home screen, but I think it's worth taking a quick look at.
So I'm getting a lot of questions. Excuse me. I'm getting a lot of questions from people here saying, Chris, they've played with it a little, so they're starting to figure it out, but how did they get the Twitter and the Facebook on there so they're getting those feeds as well? They're just quickly asking, how did you add those?
Yeah, so let me I'll do a quick little plug here. If everybody that wants to know how to do that, if they'll go over to our page, Chad, if they go to facebook.com/InmanNext, just write on our wall that you want to link to the how-to, because Reggie Nicolay, one of our first pieces of content, was 9 Google Plus must-have apps, and those are 2 of them, and there's 7 more that are just awesome. So anybody that wants to get the direct link to that, just request it on our wall, and after the show here, I'll link it up.
Perfect. I appreciate that, and we'll share that with you guys again after the call, so you make sure that you have that. Chris will remind you where you can find him to get that information. All right, let's keep going, Chris. So what do we got going on then?
Well, this is big to me because everybody's saying, is it going to replace Facebook? Is it going to replace Twitter? Again, it's an and economy. It's going to be Facebook and Twitter and Google+. But what I noticed, and it really right out of the gates, is that it is Facebook and Twitter-esque. And what I mean by that is the status update initially kind of looks like a status update that you would see on Facebook. You can like it, which is +1. You can comment. You can share it. But here's where it gets a little more personal. If I didn't want everybody that had commented on this thing that Gary Vee did to see my response, if I wanted to reply just to him and keep it out of the big thread, I can do that. And Chad, is that something that on Facebook is an awful experience?
Sometimes it absolutely is.
So like Ben Kinney asked a question, you're like comment number 3, and then 85 more comments come in that you really probably couldn't care less about, right? So
Absolutely.
That's going to be big, I'm pretty sure. And by the way, that's another plug-in. So that's on the list. That button's not there without the plug-in. The other thing that's cool is you can mute a post. So a lot of people on Facebook, they know you can hide somebody. So you can hide somebody so you never see their stuff again. Well, you can eventually, I'm sure you can do that on Plus as well. Just take them out of your circle. But what's really nice is if there's a thread like this, and Gary Vee did the thread, and you've already read through it, you can actually mute that thread, and it just goes away forever. So they're really trying to keep it where it's really clean. The other couple little things, one of the other things that sucks in Facebook is that you leave a comment and you spell something wrong, and that always stinks, and then you have to leave another comment to fix your spelling. Well, in Google Plus, right out of the gates, you can edit comments. So I thought that was really nice, and you can +1 comments. So I think it's a little bit of Facebook, it's a little bit of Twitter. I'm really enjoying the way it works.
There's nothing better than being able to edit those comments. I think that alone is incredibly powerful, and Facebook's going to have to fix that before everyone runs away.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that, one of the things we're about to see, I think, is the Hangouts, Chad. And I want to make one statement that Google Plus is already doing a better job with the status update system and with the video chat system.
So let's talk about that because Facebook just did their huge announcement, and it's driving me, I love it, but it's driving me nuts with how many people just keep insisting on ringing me up because they just want to play with their new video chat on Facebook and they want to talk to me on Facebook. What's this Hangout thing?
Well, here's one thing we need to talk about with video chat, because a lot of people think this is going to be a huge deal, and I think it is a big deal if it's used the right way. But, you know, be honest, Chad, do you answer or not answer more phone calls that you get?
Not answer.
Okay, so that's a good answer. Now, question number 2, if the phone calls you were getting when you saw them also said you're about to be on a video feed live, would you answer more or less?
I guess it would depend where I am and what I'm wearing at the moment.
Yeah, but I know for me, I've gotten several requests and I've ignored it, and so I think the reason that Google is way ahead on video chat, they have a thing called Hangout, and the reason I put that belly-to-belly business, I know Ben likes to say that, and I know that's a big part of what you guys talk about, is it's not just about email and social. You got to get belly-to-belly. Well, we're getting closer to that through video. If you look on the left, that's the Hangout. If you look on the right, that's the Google Chat. So is it nice to be able to talk to more than one person at a time? Absolutely. I think that's huge. The other thing that's really neat is when you have 3 or 4 people in a chat, it actually knows who's talking. So the big box automatically, dynamically would change to whoever was speaking. Chad, could you see yourself, Ben, Sue, Gary Keller, and Jay Papasan on a call on a Google chat? I mean, can't you see how that would be really powerful?
Absolutely. It's a great opportunity for when we can't all get together to actually get together.
Yeah, and for me, so what I saw by Facebook making their announcement last week is I think that, in my opinion, for the first time, they made a reactionary decision. They did their press release about Skype on the day that they did it because they were actually getting monkey stomped by Google on day 1 as far as video chat capability goes. So Hangouts are awesome. It's easy to start one. They can be private. There's a chat tool. It's a great, great opportunity. The people that are using them absolutely love them. Start a Hangout. Just don't invite me quite yet.
And then this looks like a great way also that it shares who you were hanging out with, so it lets us know who some of those people are that maybe on Twitter I would want to follow because, well, Chris, you're hanging out with them, so these people must be people that I want to know as well.
Yeah, that's a big list there, Katie Lance and all the contributors, Suzanne and Matthew, and that's exactly right. Their names are blue for a reason, right? So you actually couldn't have been in that Hangout. See how it says limited? You could not have hung out with us, my friend, because you were not in that circle. But as soon as we hang up that Hangout, it's just going to let everybody know that we just had a nice little power meeting, which I think that's kind of cool.
So what I want to tell everybody here is basically you're going back to high school again, and we're going to have our little cliques, and you're going to know who's in each one sometimes. So you got to work your way into the right circles.
Exactly. You got to be in the right circles. And circles, which we didn't cover a ton, those are really the biggest part of this. Be organized. Don't do what you did in Facebook. Don't just import your database and figure it out later. They have dummy-proofed organization. And that's another reason. I mean, you know me, Chad. I actually taught CRM for about 2.5 to 3 years. So I've seen more, E-edges and top producer 8 eyes than, really any one human should have to look at. And they're always disorganized. If I look at your 4,000 friends on Facebook, Facebook doesn't make it easy to categorize. Google Plus made that a primary focus. Agents need organization to be a primary focus. I think that's another win for Google Plus.
So instead of the friends list that nobody's using or the groups that they think are solving this problem, use your circles properly is what you're telling them as you add people.
100%. I mean, like I said, my family's not there. I don't even have any friends or family in my circles. I have 2 circles, real estate tech friends, and then also people that I think are smart web people outside of real estate. So for me, I'm 100% business on there, which is great. But if you're looking for mom and pop and you're looking for those first-time buyers and you're looking for those 55-plus, retirement community buyers, I just don't know that they're here quite yet.
Not yet. All right. So what do we got here? This is your game changer, and I'm very upset. Before you get into the game changer, I haven't seen Farmville yet.
Well, I think they're making a really. Think about this. It's such a great comment, Chad. Here's why. I believe that music and customization and all the kind of, riffraff that came along with that, I believe that was really why MySpace went away. So I'm not saying that the gaming element of Facebook could make it go away, but it sure did piss a lot of people off, right? So I think Google's very much limiting kind of the gaming element out of the gates. Hey, great lesson they got to learn from Facebook.
There you go. So what do we got here? What is this game changer you want to explain to everybody?
Well, this is it. This is the game changer. So if you're not sold at this point, this is where it gets really interesting. This is a Google search that makes people a lot of money. Their city real estate. Jay Thompson is a guy, and he's one of our contributors at Inman Next. He's a guy that is doing very well in the search engines. So he's his own brokerage. He's competing, of course, against Realtor.com and Zillow. So right now, and this is on my machine, of course, I did a search for Phoenix real estate. There's 139 million results, and he's number 3, which I think would impress anybody. But you need to look at the elements of his results, and that's what SERP means, search engine results page. You need to look at the content of the results. The first 2 results don't have a person's picture below them, right? See how it says Jay Thompson shared this? So Jay Thompson and I are connected. He probably +1'd his own site, which of course everybody would probably +1 their own site. I +1'd his site, etc. That number is going to grow. So every single person that I'm connected to on the internet that likes something or +1 something, it's going to actually put their face inside of the search engines. And if that doesn't make a difference, I don't know what would. I mean, you just think to yourself, if I did a search and I had 3 options, and normally we, of course, would go 1 or 2. But, man, option number 3 has 30 +1s, and about 8 of my friends have already been on that website. Do you think that might change where you would click, Chad?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no game changer bigger than this. You're going to now see the statistics change with people who are clicking on the first, second, or third, because you are getting instant results from what your friends are saying, people you trust.
Exactly. Getting instant results, but you're also getting the social layer poured on, so that filter is now inside of Google. And that's why everybody says, oh, well, I'd rather go to Facebook than Google to look for a movie because, I'd rather hear what my friends have to say about the movie. What if you could have both? And I think that's what Google's building.
Wow. Powerful. Now, how do we find you on Google+?
Good question. They haven't come out with an official URL shortener. So a lot of people know about the vanity URL in Facebook, facebook.com/ and then whatever you want it to be. There is a third-party company that went ahead and created one. It could not be easier to do. I wouldn't get too caught up because if you screw it up, I'm guessing we're all going to be able to get a Google+ one directly from Google here pretty soon. But if you go to gplus.to, you can put in whatever nickname you want, and you can put in your Google ID number, and then that's going to give you a nice custom ending. So mine right now is gplus.to/chief evangelist. Anybody that wants to hit me up on Google+, that's how you can find me quickly.
And there's our little plug to find Chris. Now, Chris, I'm going to jump in on this. The reason we were talking about this before the call, you and I, the reason Google wasn't giving out the custom URLs, at least at this time, they didn't want to just tag it with your email address and what shows up in front of the @gmail.com so that people couldn't just grab email addresses for spam. Yeah. So that's why they've come up with this. I'm sure they're working on some system to give us the built-in customizable URL so I don't have to tell people to find me. I'm 103099990, because we'll never get it.
Yeah, it doesn't look real good on a business card is the problem. So
Perfect. All right, so we have given you guys some information, and I want some questions from you guys. We've got a few minutes left on the call. Post them on the Facebook fan page. That way, if we don't get to them, we can answer them. Getting a bunch of thank you, Chris's, thank you, IMSD, for bringing Chris, all that kind of stuff. One question I know that I've seen a bunch go by is there isn't the fan page yet. They don't have the business page yet. What about people with more than one Gmail account? Should they be setting up different profiles? What if they have a team for their real estate, Chris? Should they set up one for themselves and one for their team, or should they just hang on and let Google catch up to them?
Well, let me tell you that if you set up one right now for your business, they'll shut it down very quickly. There is not a business option as of yet. So keep that in mind. Now, ironically, Chad, you know this, most real estate agents, they are kind of their business. So obviously you can set up your personal profile. You can kind of complete it the way that we showed it. Start organizing your circles. Start making a habit, maybe 5 to 10 minutes a day. Log in. Now, here's one thing that you have to do. If you're going to go in and you're going to set up your profile and you're going to kind of put your toe in the water, just make sure that you're getting the notifications. Because when people are saying stuff about you on the internet, kind of like a lead, do you guys teach at IMSD, Chad, to respond quickly or to take a long time when you get a lead?
Oh, no, we say when you get a lead, Chris, go to the movies, go out for dinner, get back to them about 6 hours later. They're definitely still sitting by the computer waiting. No,
well,
of course.
Yeah, you want to shower and get comfy and all that stuff.
Sure, of course you do. No, if you don't answer within the first 5 minutes, you're 10 times less likely to get a hold of them if you wait just 10 minutes. So absolutely, you've got to immediately respond.
Yeah, and I try to live that. I mean, I try to do that across every platform. So I think, my point is this. If you don't feel like this is something that you want to get started on quite yet, then just don't even set up the profile. If you're going to set it up and you're going to clean it up and you're going to set it up where the notifications are coming and you're going to log in once a day for 5 or 10 minutes and kind of start to learn the kind of nuances, I think that's definitely worth doing. Let's do some Q&A, dude. This has been awesome.
Absolutely. I'm loving it. So what I want to tell everybody here, remember, if you want to join our program after, use the promo code Google Plus to save $200. Right now, jump over to Facebook/IMS designation. We knew you were all there, not on Google Plus yet. That's why we're using Facebook. Throw up your questions so I can throw them at Chris. We can take the next few minutes and answer some questions for you guys so that we can also answer them after as well. And one of the questions I keep getting is they all want to be clear, and I'm seeing a lot of this on the page. They want their invite. If you guys go on our page and scroll down, you'll find the Geeky Girls have already said they will get everybody an invite if you go post your email address for them on their posting. So they're going through that and helping you get your invites. Let's see what else we've got. Chris, how about Hootsuite linking to Google+? What are your thoughts? What are you seeing since Hootsuite is so strong in your eyes?
Yeah, I've actually been tweeting with those guys, and that's one of their high priorities. I will say this, please don't hold it against them yet because Google hasn't made this available yet. So the way that you can pull that data from Facebook and Twitter into Google+, they don't have it set up with an API where the Google Plus stuff is pushing out. The second that they do that, I can promise you that services like TweetDeck and Hootsuite, it's going to be at the top of their list.
So, Chris, they want to know a little bit more about this G+.2 that you want to, they're just going to go to that website,
yeah.
G+.to.
Exactly. Sometimes you use those crazy endings, so it's a little confusing, but G+.to, you paste your ID in there, and then you pick your name, and then now you can kind of use that link when people say, hey, are you on Google+, etc.
And we'll put together a little video that'll take absolutely no time. We'll have it posted before the end of the day for everybody on where you find all that stuff. Your Google ID number is there when you log in to Google+. It's the really long number in the URL that makes no sense. And then we'll get you guys sharing them so we can all get on circles together. So I'm scrolling back. I'm finding some of the great questions here that says, Chris, does the +1 help with SEO, or is it just seeing what your friends are liking?
The +1 is going to be basically both. So, for example, if I go into Google and I go into, I go and I search for, Portland homes for sale, and I end up on Jeff's website, and I'm reading this page. If I +1 what I'm reading, that's going to show up that happened over in the Google search results, and that's also going to show up in my social profile over back-end Google+. Now, they don't necessarily have it turned on, so you may not be scrolling through Google today and seeing +1s in the results. What I'm worried about, Chad, is when they do, how far behind people are going to be.
Right. Now, how do they get the +1 on their website, Chris?
The plus one on their website, you just do a quick Google search. Let me, I'll do one and see what's easy to get to it. Just do a search for Google plus one button, and there's all kinds of links to blogs where they'll show you exactly how to add that button to your site. So maybe we'll do a how-to video on that on Inman next or something.
And then, Chris, if they want that Twitter and that Facebook add-on that you were showing, they just need to go to facebook.com/InmanNext and post that up on the screen there that they are looking for that.
Yeah, well, here's what we did is we put together a post of the 9 best plugins that already exist. So anybody that wants that, I'll link that. The other thing, we did just launch this big site, chadnext.inman.com, and one of the things that we did that I thought was pretty innovative is we documented the way that we started it and the success that we had and the tools and strategies that we used. So in about a 2-week time, we're at about 1,500 people on Facebook, 1,000 people on Twitter, 5,000, page views, 10, all kinds of great data. But we started from zero because we didn't leverage kind of the existing Inman News email list. So I wrote a post today called 5 Launch Strategies That Work Right Now. And I think it's one of the best things that I've ever written. So if anybody is thinking about starting a new Twitter, starting a YouTube channel, starting a new blog, starting a new Facebook page, which I know a lot of your people probably are, have them request that on the Facebook wall of Inman Next, and I'll get them the link to that as well because, we got 1,800 emails in about 4 days, and I know that's what you guys preach is clicks to closings, and in order to make that happen, you got to get people's info.
Absolutely. How many of you, type it in for me, I thought you guys did fantastic, and I had my free Slurpee in my hand on 7-Eleven. How many of you were there for the Inman Next launch? Because I think that it was just fantastic. Let me know if you were there. Getting a bunch of yeses. Great launch. Good job, Chris. These people understand. These are the leaders in the tech world out here wanting to take advantage of this, and they know that we're going to bring them great information, and they know that you're going to be bringing them great information. So for those of you who haven't done this yet, you need to get on Facebook. I know here we're talking about Google+. You need to get to Facebook. You need to go to IMS designation, and you also need to go to Inman Next. You need to like both of those pages, see the information that we are sharing again and again from both platforms for you guys. I don't know how often it is that Chris and I or Chris and Ben or Chris, Ben, and I will get together and we'll share some information so that we're making sure that we're all bringing it together or that we're all on the same page to make sure that we're getting it out there for you. So facebook.com/InmanNext is where you want to go. We'll have that on our fan page for you later as well. You want to go on there. You want to request that 9 apps. Chris, as soon as I get off this call, I'm going to request it. I want to see that because I didn't get that from you when it went out, and making sure you're following that info.
Yeah, it's funny because whenever Reggie submitted the article for the blog, I did it right away. It wasn't even live. I felt like I was cheating a little bit because we got the information quickly. But, I think one thing that's funny, Chad, where are we sending people, right? We just did a Google Plus show.
We'll send them to Facebook still.
Yeah, so just keeping that in perspective, and then also I wanted to just ask that anybody that enjoys it when I come on and do these with IMSD, just email Chad directly and let him know that you love it.
Absolutely. There you go. My email box is going to blow up. Thank you, Chris. I'm sitting there. One of the things as the community manager I take care of is these promo calls that we put together, these bonus opportunities. We're shooting for 1 a month is what we're looking for, and we don't want to do little calls. We want to do big calls with the topics you guys want. That's why we had Clout coming on. Everybody keeps asking about Clout, and we moved Clout for this because you were all requesting that we brought more information about Google Plus because it's 2 weeks old and you all want to know about it. So we're not going to wait. And what did we do? We went and we found the best source for Google Plus information right now, and that was clearly Chris. He's always there, always brings us great information. Chris, I want to thank you again for joining us. I want to let everybody know that Inman Next is where they need to go on Facebook to find out the information. When there's a business page for it on Google Plus, we will let you know how to find that as well. If they're interested in our program, it's imsd.net. Promo code is Google+. If you want to talk to one of our graduates about the IMSD program, call that number. 619-500-IMSD. They'll be answering all day today, our graduates, so they can tell you about the program, and you can actually learn what this program is about, the people behind all of that, and what we're bringing you, what Ben and I are bringing you through that program, and these extras that we get to bring you amazing people like Chris to join us. So Chris, I really want to thank you for taking not only the hour out of your day now, but I know how long we were both working last night as you were putting together most up-to-date information we could to make sure everybody had the Google Plus stuff that's going on out there.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you guys having me on. You know, anytime, maybe we can circle back in a couple months and possibly do another one of these based around the business pages, because we know those are coming. And one of the things I know from Facebook, Chad, is that the people that got on Facebook first and that set up their business pages that were strategically set up first, like Tech Savvy Agent, like Jonathan Rivera, those are the pages that just blew up right out of the gate. So I think that's going to be another good call. And if you're not, you know, an IMSD member, which I'm not, but I've seen all the content, you really need to think about it. In my opinion, the stuff that they're covering is so important. And if I didn't think it was, I wouldn't do the calls for them.
And we appreciate that, Chris, and we appreciate having you here. Guys, if you have any more questions, you got two places to go. That's the IMSD fan page, which is IMS designation, and Inman Next. You can throw some information up there. Tag us both back and forth. It was Chris Smith. It was Chad Himes here with you today. Thank you for joining us. Chris, thank you again. And thanks to everybody out there. We hope you have a fantastic weekend ahead of you. We'll look forward to engaging with you on Facebook and now on Google+. Have a great day.